Hello there, namaste. So I just finished watching Lakshya, and I gotta say, I absolutely love this movie. I absolutely love this movie. So I know this is a fake character based off the LOC battle that took place, the LOC, thing that happened. Don't know the polite or correct way. So I'm just saying, yeah, that happened. So it's a true event that happened, but it's a fake character. And I gotta say, this movie, the pacing starts off slow, which is, honestly, I didn't mind because I just finished watching Echo, and that is atrocious with how bad it is. Yeah, I just had to, jab one in on Echo here, even though it's not about it. So the pacing speeds up as it goes on. So it starts off with him in the army, and then you keep seeing like this flashback or he has a picture in his wallet about a girl. And then you see the girl, and then she basically is asked to be married, and she still thinks about this guy who's off in the war. And I gotta say, I love how it was done because he loves her, but something happened, which led to them falling apart. And then I kept wanting to know what happened. I was getting aggravated. Turns out that she got engaged to the man who wanted to marry her, which wasn't the man that she had loved originally. And it broke my heart watching that, because it's just like, she knew this guy. She knew how stubborn he was. She knew how idiotic he was, the soldier. But it was, the story was so well done. The events, how it built up. The music was placed perfectly because it's fun in the beginning, and then they have the one music sequence which leads on. And honestly, I mentioned Mulan again in this one because it literally was. They're singing, they're just talking about singing about being soldiers, and then they come across a burning truck, and that was just so impactful because the music cut off, and then it built up once again. But still, it worked. It felt like the pacing was done because you don't see many soldiers who have lost their lives. Like in LOC, immediately it starts off. The first thing, the visual is a camera panning over soldiers who had lost their lives. It was devastating to see. Here, it builds up to that point. One thing that I noticed is like in LOC, which I think was supposed to be the more accurate since it was, based off the actual situation and doesn't have a fictional character put in it. But the Pakistani soldiers were dressed in uniforms there. Here, they're dressed in casual attire. They're dressed as civilians. So which one is the one that's accurate with that? Did they actually dress as civilians when they did that? That's one thing I would like to know. Were they dressed as civilians? And were they just trying to play the role of, the word I'm not allowed to say here on YouTube that starts with a T? Were they just trying to act like that? But oh my gosh, this movie was absolutely fascinating. The actor, I've enjoyed him in other stuff. Of course, I have seen things that got me enraged, but that had to do with like the story content itself. I'm a very sensitive person, and there are things that just drive me up the wall when it comes to certain topics. And yeah, he was in something like that, and but the actor does a phenomenal job. The story, the pacing, the way it's done, the way I was starting to feel about certain things, and I would say, they better do this, they better do this. And of course, they did it. Not because I wanted it, because it makes you feel something. It makes you feel excited or happy. And then you get mad at certain characters because they're doing things. It's like, come on, don't be a fool. Talk to this person. Don't be a fool. Say it. And then they'll say what I wanted them to say. Or it just worked out so well. One thing that bothered me was I was feeling like there was not enough attachments between the soldiers. Because one thing I love in a soldier film is the camaraderie between the soldiers. Like in Border, it was the relationship between the soldier and the cook. That was one of the most impactful ones right there for me. In, what was it, LOC, it was the actor from Family Man and his friend. That one was the most impactful. And here, I completely forgot about it. I was like, there is none. That's one thing that's missing. Like, literally, I'm doing the watch along, and I say, oh, that's the only thing that's missing. And then they have an incident, which reminds me of a character. There was a doctor, and the person, like a soldier. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that. And that, it killed me inside. It was absolutely impactful. I absolutely loved it. Yes, it's a fictional story based off a true event, but these work. These work because this flows narratively. The time flew by. It didn't feel like I was sitting in front of my screen for 3 hours because it got me. I was along with the ride of this roller coaster of emotion. And no matter what, it's always impactful to see a soldier who's sacrificing themselves. It's devastating. It's gut wrenching. I'll never get used to that, and I hope I never do, because that's just a devastating thing. That kind of act is a true act of loyalty. The soldiers, the fact that they did what they had to do, the fact that this thing, it seems to encapsulate more than what LOC did. Yes, LOC should have been episodic. It should have been done as a series, not a standalone movie, because then it was just all over the place and I was confused. Here, it flowed naturally. Here, focus was sole on one fictional character. That's how you do it. You have to do it. You cannot do it on real characters, sure, but it was just on one fictional character and it flowed throughout. It worked perfectly. I enjoyed the cast. I enjoyed each situation, because the love interest happens to be like a news reporter, and she chooses to go to the battlefield. And like, I was complaining about certain things, like a character who was being hypocritical, just saying what he could do to win the audience over. I mean, that's what it was about. At least because the person she was engaged to, he was one of those people who pretends to be something just so he could get what he wanted. He pretended to be, all for women's rights, just so he could, seem positive, win the audience. Even because when I heard the dude talking during the newsreel, I just have to get this out, because there was a newsreel. She was the love interest was interviewing this older dude, and then the younger dude who got married, got engaged to her. The older dude was like, "Oh, women have one place to go. Women have this." And I was like, no, that made sense when it was a full-time job to stay home. But there are a lot of amenities that make staying home easy. You can throw clothes in the washing machine. You have a dishwasher. You don't need to wash dishes by hand. There's so many things that make. So it was funny, because I was like, no. And then this guy says this one thing. It's like, no, women can do whatever they want. Women can do this. And then when they're engaged, he ends up showing the fact that he believes the exact same thing the guy does. He just knows how to toe the line to win the audience. But yeah, this movie, highly impactful, because watching it, I felt like tearing up, but I think I'm starting to get more emotional as I get older. I think I'm starting to get more emotional, because it's getting to me. It's getting to me. Like, I know I'm gonna be hit hard when I'm editing it. I'm gonna get hit hard when I'm editing it. But this movie absolutely is phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. I love this actor. I love this actor, because when it goes back to the past, when it goes back to him being like, the not knowing what he wants to do, has no aim in life, as the love interest always said, he looks like I would imagine someone who doesn't know what they're doing look like. He has that high school, kind of bravado where he pretends like he's cool, but he looks like a complete idiot to people who are doing things with their lives. People who feel like they're people who are going places look at that type of person, go like, that person's an idiot. However, that person feels cool amongst his group, but everyone else sees him as an idiot. And I loved it, because the second you see him, it's like you know exactly who he is as a character. And I absolutely loved that. The fact that this actor, I've enjoyed him in other things. I really need to start seeing more things with him. But yeah, I really liked the movie. I liked the cast. I liked how it was narratively driven, and I'm starting to talk in circles, but I absolutely recommend this film. This film was absolutely worth the watch. I still would say Border first, this one second, and then LOC, as well as I start that. Major was also a great film. Major was absolutely phenomenal. I need to rewatch that at some point. But yeah, as for older films, yeah, this one goes pretty well. It's not that old. It's only 20 years old now. Dang, that is old. Yeah, but thank you all for watching. Definitely enjoyed this movie. Hope you guys check out the watch along if I've got it out at some point. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time. Doodles.